Hello, everyone. I'm Christina. It has officially been a week since the last time we spoke. So, a lot is continuing to go on. All right. And we're going to talk about that because biblically and scientifically, air, water, earth, it's going to become golden along with food. It's going to be the new gold for real. Because you're going to be searching for that water. You're going to want that clean air. You're going to want to grow food, but can you? Right? It's not just going to be about the sun and the fire that's going on. Her hair sticking up. Okay. Hello, Brim Fallow, Debbie Lone Wolf, Michelle St. George, and Joseph Figura. Thank you. I am feeling better today. Thank you. All right, everybody saying hello. All right. Good. I got some good information for you guys tonight. All right. First, I want to give a shout out to Off-Grid Desert Farming and Daily Excellence. Links are in the description box. A lot of times YouTube has an issue with buffering. So if you're having that problem, go to my backup channel, Odyssey. Links also there in the description box, and you can hear it there. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, share, subscribe, comment. Love your comments. All right, title is Food, Air, Electricity, and Water, the New Gold. That's right. Remember, you can't eat gold. You might have money, but no food. Money, but it's worthless. And it's getting to that point, especially with the fall of the petrodollar happening now. Okay, so right now, whatever you can get, while money is actually good, is going to be to your benefit. I've been learning a lot about prepping as time goes by. Like, you can't just have iodide pills without having some kind of meter to know if you should take them or not. Okay, and I ordered one of them, and it was ironic that I was getting it from China. I won't say why, but people around me thought it was. Okay, what we're going to be doing first is exploring dreams and visions of food shortages and coming famine that began at least 10 years ago. Not recent, not when it became obvious and then people started oh, we're going to have food problems. I had a vision. Maybe they did. But sometimes when it's already starting, it's a little harder to accept that. So we're going to go back to a few from 10 years ago. And there were lots and lots more than what I'm stating. I was even saying it 7 years ago that there was a famine coming. Maybe 5 to 7 years ago, I started saying it. I just knew that it was about to happen. And at the time, everything was really good. I was trying to tell my neighbors, this is going to be a really good time to start prepping, learning how to garden. And everything looked great. They thought I was crazy. And I am so used to being looked at like I'm crazy because people haven't gotten to that point yet. So they haven't seen what I've seen is coming. It's always one of those things where it's a 1 in a million chance that it could happen. You know, I mean, 7 years ago, you think about shipping was fine. The waterways were okay. We didn't have all these plant fires going on, meteors coming in. None of that was happening. Crops were growing just fine. So nobody could imagine that things were about to take a turn for the worse. And really, that's where this live is all about, because we hit that point first. But now we're getting to that phase where it's about to go up another level. All right. And that's why we really need to talk. And that's a lot about what we're going to talk about. But let's start with these visions. All right. Just about famine that was coming. All right. Scroll down a little bit. Scroll. Come on. Okay. Flash dream 1. These are other people's visions, not mine. You can see mine on YouTube, on my channel further back if you want to. These are other people's. I had a flash dream that I was walking past a small grocery store on a city block. They had their shelves displayed out on the sidewalk, but they were completely empty of all food except for a small bag of apples. This was a warning that we will be seeing empty grocery shelves in the stores. Second flash dream, I saw a little old, poor-looking man coming down a hill carrying a heavy sack of potatoes thrown over his back. And in yet another dream, I saw writing in the sky. The word I saw was potato. This person kept seeing potatoes in their dream, and the Lord led them to remember the potato famine in Ireland back in the 1800s. There's another dream. I was in a grocery store at the checkout counter with my husband. The lights were barely on, and it was hard to see. It was as if the lights were being powered by generators in an emergency situation. As the lady was checking out our grocery cart, I noticed how full with food that it was overflowing. I then looked behind me and saw this long line of people behind me waiting to check out as well. However, they were all carrying their food in the arms and had no grocery carts. And let me tell you something. I have seen so many people have had visions that they're saying that you can only purchase what you can carry in your arms, that you're not allowed to use a cart. And so for this person to say it was what they could carry in their arms and they had no grocery carts, that fits in too. And the food that you will be buying, whatever, like that little bit you can hold in your arms, is going to be really expensive. Okay, really expensive. Anyway, it goes on to say, yes, I could see that they were struggling with their arms full of groceries and some dropping on the floor. They seemed very anxious for us to hurry up, and I could feel their anxiety and frustration. Then suddenly, I knew that my husband and I were the last one to buy so much food, and that we were the last ones to use grocery carts. Now I understand why everyone was fretting at us. The new law seemed to be that you could buy the food that you could carry and no more because of the upcoming shortage of food. Flash dream 4. I saw an old rusty wheelbarrow. It was turned upside down, so I went up to it and flipped it right side up. When I did so, I saw a huge pile of maggots piled up underneath it. It said that they understood that the wheelbarrow stood for farmers and his crops. The old and rusty one showed that farming had stopped because there were no more crops to farm. The maggots showed that the crops were eaten or destroyed by some crisis or drought. That's been happening. Number 5, I saw an empty grocery cart rolling down a huge mountain. It started slowly at the top, and it did start slow, didn't it? And started picking up speed the further it went. And it started in little spotty places, and it started spreading. Then I saw it starting to tumble over some rocks and then fall over a cliff, like, okay, that it's not only going to get worse, there's going to be a sudden drop-off, crashing into a distant valley. This represents that there will be no more groceries to buy. Number 6. I saw an old-fashioned wooden water bucket like the ones used 100 years ago to fetch water from a well. First, I saw the front of it like in a picture, but then it started rotating around and became 3D. I then noticed that it did not have a bottom to it. When I awoke, the Lord told me that this was a sign of a water shortage crisis. Watch, that's coming. That's right. And we see evidence of that starting to happen, where our water is starting to get so much more precious day by day. In fact, that train derailment up in Ohio, it got into the river. Just so happens that river feeds right through the New Madrid and right on down through New Orleans into the Gulf of Mexico, in time to hit the Gulf Stream that goes straight for Florida and out into the Atlantic, passing by the East Coast. So if it's bad enough, if it reaches that far, it can start contaminating our oceans. I'm saying that's the route. if it hasn't been out or been dealt with by then. And why is it? Why is it that we can send trillions of dollars everywhere else, every other country, but not a single look at defending our borders or sending aid for something that devastating? Something's topsy turvy here. Okay. The priorities just aren't correct. It seems like the people that are leading our country have no concern for the people whatsoever. Thank you, Debbie. Yes, please hit that like button. Got 33 people here tonight. That's awesome. You know, it always makes me wonder, how is it I can have 3,800 subscribers, but only 30, 40 people show up for a live? That doesn't make any sense to me. Hi, TNT, Kathleen. I keep answering. Connie Neo, good to see you back again. And see, that's right, Neo. God does have us in his hands. We see a lot of the bad happening. And I don't think Christians look enough lately that it's not just the dark side, that God's here. God is in control, and that there's a lot of glory, okay? The people used to see the time of miracles in Moses' time. Even these church people, they knew that that in the last days, miraculous things would be worked through God's people. But I don't think it's clicked yet. I don't think it's really clicked that we're here and that we're capable and that we're going to see some amazing things. And we have every reason to be brave. Really. We really do. God has us in his hands. And what wonderful hands to be in. Kim from Stone the Crows is here, and James Motley. Maybe. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. You know, there's got to be something that could have been done differently. Waco, Texas in the house. Diana. There was an 18-inch pipe bomb found on train tracks in Pennsylvania today. Wow. Waterways. Okay. 8 billion people. Keith says, I guess being in a world of 8 billion people, I was bound for a life of mediocrity. It just feels so disappointing to not find my thing in life that made me feel like a success. Well, times are changing. You might find your niche soon, because life is really going to change for everybody. This is a comfortable place where everybody's able to sit down in their living rooms and talk and get in that car when they want to and go to the grocery store. Those days are coming to an end. Life is going to become more tribal, more off grid. Things are going to change. Everything, that office space kind of cubically, stuffed in a cubicle kind of life, that's going to change. So maybe you're feeling it because you're supposed to do more, but you just haven't had the time hasn't arrived yet. So hang on. There's going to be plenty to do. Hello, Ev. Always good to see you. No one here seems to notice or talk about it, but Lake Waco is down 48% capacity. I think there's like a river of magma right around there. There's something going on in Waco. It's not the volcanic region, but that doesn't surprise me. And isn't there a fault line around there too? Anyway, the shining ones, I like that. Hello, Clarissa. It's always good to see you. I remember when my friend helped the cops catch some teens that were trying to cause a derailment. Ooh. It's almost comforting. I felt, yep. I agree with you, brother. I agree with you, Keith. All right. Oh, Connie's having wonderful dreams about new garden spaces and wonderful changes for it. See? There are wonderful things going to happen too, because that's the glory of God. He's got a plan. Don't ever forget that he's got a plan, and bigger, more is he than he that is in the world, right? Okay. Now, I was warning about food shortages coming 6-7 years ago. But just as 2022 was coming to an end, it was all over. Even the WHO was saying it. Every country's telling their people, warnings from everybody. Farmers, they said food shortages would get worse in 2023. So we're just speeding up towards that cliff we're going to fall off of. Okay. It's going to get to that point where you're in those long lines with rationing and, what's it called? Camo dressed individuals there to make sure everything is cool. You know what I mean? But let's look at what's going on now. Buying food is like playing the stock market right now, especially when it comes to survival food, because you're trying to buy when it's low. And what I've done is I've kept I've just been watching how, like, if they say an olive grove has been destroyed, big producer of it, I'm going to get the olives, anything I need that's related to olives. And I'm just giving this as an example. I'm going to order it, get it now, because next week that price is going to triple and everything's going to disappear. And usually the prices aren't, if they come down, it's much later and it's only for a little while and then they shoot back up. And in time, these high prices that we have now that are already triple or quadruple what they were 3 years ago, they're going to double again. Okay. When you have a $38 number 10 can of dehydrated egg go to over $100 in a month and stay that high for the next year, you've got a problem. When a bucket of vegetable goes up from $69, I'm talking prepper food, to $115 overnight, or you see mushrooms in the grocery store like I just did that are usually in cans are now in glass jars because of the aluminum shortage. Hold on a second. Now, here we go. Cat and dog food. The last week, 2 weeks, I'm telling you, I've taken pictures of this. The cat and the dog food aisles, they're almost empty. Like the cat food, the Meow Mix and the Friskies, the dry cat food has been gone for over a week from Kroger and Dollar General. They've got kitten chow and, $10 bags of IAMs, but even that's sparse. Okay. And the dog food aisle on the other side of the aisle, their shelves look pretty much the same. I had my pick, though, of Temptations, which was awesome. But there you go. The cat and dog food is disappearing. So a lot of people are starting to look up these recipes. And someone recommended turkey for cats. But guess what? Turkey's on the prepper food is more expensive than beef right now, if you can believe it. But it's true. Okay. Now we've got reports of global sugar shortages that are growing. And I am not kidding about this. It's sneaking up on you, but it catches my eye because I did check around. But here's the thing. I remember this one particular woman's vision from like 10, 12 years ago. She was talking about, how it would start with little shortages, and one thing she said specifically, because what she said lined up with what everybody else that had visions on it basically was saying too, but she said that sugar was one of the first things to really disappear long term, just really go. And so, with sugar has been a hit and miss lately. It really has. So I just wanted to kind of let you know that if you can order that prepper sugar, like buckets of it from like Augustin Farms, order it now before it goes up, because it will. And it could possibly even disappear. But the farmer's report, it's got some things to say also that you might find interesting. We'll go ahead and check the comments super fast, and we'll get into this thing called U.S. Foods Produce Trends, February 17th, 2023. So it's recent. Hello, DJ, Veronica. Right. This pole shift is coming. Best prepare for the event compared to the wars that are taking place. See, that's exactly what a lot of this is about. When I say we're about to go to the next level, that set of Turkey earthquakes where the ground broke and everything, that was the beginning. That was the kiss of hello for that day rolling in. Because that's going to start. I mean, we've already been having like earth rips for about 5 years, that weren't showing up on USGS. But we've been having, the earth has been ripping open. We have crustal thinning, and just y'all know, y'all been watching. Y'all know about how the earth is changing. Okay, and a lot of how you prepare does depend on your area. Like somebody asked me to check their area out, and I was like, okay, you're in the desert, but you're right near a fault line. So if that thing goes, you might end up in quicksand in a hurry. So it really depends on your area, and you have to listen to the Holy Spirit to guide you. And I've been guided to prepare what I'm supposed to do. Like, I was moved away from my coastal hometown up here, and ever since then, God has been preparing me for a tsunami that's going to come in one day here from the Gulf of Mexico. And I don't care who thinks I'm crazy. I'm telling you, the South and Mexico is in a lot of trouble. That water's going to come in. All right. And everything that's on the shorelines, it's coming in with it. All right. But I'd also mentioned before, like a year ago, I said, God's telling me gas masks. Now, when you think about that Ohio train derailment, that's not going to be the only incident. Sugar and salt will last indefinitely. They may become hard from humidity, but they can still be used, right? There you go. There you go. Salt and sugar, and you can dry meat out, all kinds of stuff. Locusts are kosher. I heard they're full of plenty of nutrients, sugar extracts. And one thing you might want to remember is they've got that lime powder. Like, it's just dehydrated lime. It's lime. You can add sugar or salt to it. That's just regular lime crystals, but it can ward off scurvy in the winter. And scurvy, you're like, eyes bleed and stuff, y'all. I want to check that out. Just some jalapenos would work too, oranges, but lime, just lime, that'll work too. Just wanted, okay. Oh, how's the kitty? Clarissa, these kitties are spoiled rotten. Oh, yes, they are. They are so cute. Oh, they're so cute. Alrighty. Biomilk baby formula gates is work. Oh my gosh. And baby formula, you think about in the Bible how it talks about how babies are going to be ripped from the breast, and you know why? Because people are going to be starving. They're going to want that baby's milk. That's right. And probably the baby. Cannibalism is going to be a real thing. Okay. Hello, Paul and Adrian. Welcome in Orlando. I heard of the Super Bowl this year. There were performers in hazmat uniforms. So that's as creepy as that little dance they did at CERN. Beautiful as always. Thank you, Orlando. Old Town, welcome. And there's Kim. Yes, good to see you back again. Awesome. All right. Y'all ready for the farmer's report? Okay. What it says. When it comes to potatoes, all the potatoes seem to be doing good. Cabbage is up. And depending on the lettuce, some of it's the same, some of it's up, down. It looks fine. Cilantro. Bell peppers, fine. It's really weird because it looked kind of different when I looked at it last, but like lemons, oranges, yeah, but it's spring's around the corner. According to this report, they're saying that pretty much produce is fine. But is that going to continue? That's just this one farmer's report, that some things are up, some things are down, but I think that's kind of the norm. But I really do think that I was definitely seeing that they are having sugar shortages popping up in different countries. Like I think Nigeria was one, and it's all over. But one of them was like a major sugar producer, and they also have things like beet sugar. And I don't necessarily trust those other synthetic sugars because they've got MSG and saccharin or something. You know, this poisonous material that you really don't want. I think it like gives you cancer or something. So you want sugar. I mean, if any of you have low blood sugar, you know, it's so funny because I do too. You know, sugar is going to be a medical necessity. Okay, you've got to think about that. You know, some people they don't have any sugar, and that's fine, and they're just fine, and they're healthy. But there are some people like myself that have very high metabolism. Like my kids, they have blood sugar problems too. Same like me. Our blood sugar just does a dive, and we just become little zombies until we get some sugar. You know, gummies, Jolly Ranchers, just something in back. I used to watch the Kitten Bowl. I've never heard of it, but I'm totally in love with the sound of it already. All right, let's keep going. All right, so when I say we're getting ready for the next level of the magnetic pole reversal, a lot of people wondered what would happen when we got to that 40-degree mark. And immediately, the observers of the magnetic north and the degree that it had gotten to, they noticed right away that it started to reverse. And at that same time, we started getting reports that the core had stopped and was reversing. The implications of that are on the level of the movie's Ashfall in 2012. Okay, this is why around that same time Turkey had these quakes. Okay, now I know that man has the ability to make certain things happen, but I need to remind all of you that not everything is man-made or a distraction when you look at it through the lens of the Bible. There'd be earthquakes and famines and pestilences. That's Matthew 24 and the first four seals of the apocalypse. This is judgment coming on earth. These are warning signs, okay? So some people may look at it as distractions, but a Christian who's in that Bible should see it for what it is. Prophecy. God's hand. Okay, we're going to see more of these earthquakes. Things are going to start breaking apart. Like Mike from Around the World said, in some areas, water will just come up. And in other places, the ground will disappear from underneath you. And in other places, I mean, it's going to separate. We've got real problems. Okay, I would be looking. I mean, with the ground starting to shift, Turkey was an example. Okay. What happens on land can also happen subsea, where you can't see it. But underwater is just like on land. It's got faults. It's got volcanoes around those faults. And now we have even more new faults because the earth is expanding. We have more stress on this planet. So there are going to be places that you didn't think could open up, and they do. All right. Little trump card, Euphrates River. Yes. Look at New Zealand. A lot of quakes around there. Yes. A lot big pocket of magma around there. That's absolutely right. Hello, Elu. All right. Now, so we know coastal tsunamis are destined to hit the shores of the world. And I'm beyond being timid when I say watch that Gulf of Mexico. I don't care who thinks I'm crazy. I'm telling you, if you're in the South, watch it. You've got to be around 90 miles inland, around there. I'm just saying, from the South to Mexico, for sure. That day is coming. As surely as they will try to divide Israel, that day is coming. Time is getting really short. The water that's coming in, it won't necessarily be a huge 500 wall. In some cases, yes, it will. But in some cases, it'll be where the water just keeps coming in and coming in and coming in and coming in for miles and miles. It could be like that too. That's a different kind of tsunami, but it's still a tsunami. All right. There's a lot of water. Now, if you do get a taller tsunami, you're going to feel a wind rushing ahead of it. And that way, whichever direction the wind is heading, that's the direction you need to be heading, or up. All right. Because whatever direction it's heading, this is the opposite way is where it's coming in. And depending on what you have to block that tsunami, and also think about what you have that tsunami is starting to hit. On the Gulf that I come from, we have the battleship Texas, we have ferries, we have shipping ports, we have trains and chemical plants. And all of that's going to be coming in, those chemicals, all that debris, cars, train tracks, glass. That's right. That's what's going to hit Texas's Galveston area. Okay. And it will be similar all over the place. So a lot of these movies, like where you see them just floating and they can be rescued, we're going to be in chemicals, highly toxic chemicals. Earth has 1,000 years of life left after. That's right. But there's a bottleneck in the population. A remnant will be left to carry on. That's always how it is. God always spares enough people to keep going. So we will have that 1,000-year reign. The rest of us need to make this count, be thankful for every single day, and get ready to go hang out with Father upstairs. Our missions are almost up. We come here with a purpose. We don't just come here to live the life we want to live. We're here to serve a purpose. Whether we've done it or not, time comes, we've got to go back and account, right? And for a lot of us, it's almost time to go. And some people that are younger, they're like, well, I should have had my whole life. Well, that's never guaranteed of anybody of any age, of any time. We never know. We never did know. And that's why we got to continue to think about more and more about the people that are around us, to appreciate them, to bite that tongue instead of just having something to say. You don't always have to respond or fight back. This is really just a time to just, back off of anything that's superficial, is what I'm trying to say, and really lock on to God. Ready for the new Jerusalem. Yeah, it sounds beautiful from the sound of the Bible, right? Some don't have tomorrow. I might not have tomorrow. Now, I say that knowing that I have a purpose, that I do have some time left, but I'm not going to be careless with that. It's not like I know exactly how much time I have left, but I know I haven't finished what I was sent to do, is all I'm saying. And everybody else has a purpose too here. And sometimes your purpose has to present itself. Sometimes you just have to be patient. Revelation says this world is destroyed in the end many times. I believe Revelation. Mm-hmm. Clarissa lives 650 feet from a railroad main line, had a dream where a rail yard was being built in the same area because of what's going on. All right. So you need to think about what's on your shoreline that could be headed inland, because tsunamis will be a global problem. All right. It's guaranteed to be a global problem. And so that's why if you think the Gulf of Mexico is something special in that regard, you're dreaming. All of the water and all of the beds is going to come up out of their bank. It's going to come out the banks. I'm telling you. This is what I'm talking about when I say next level, because the ground is buckling. And you're going to have to think about trains derailing, because the ground is going to be shifting, and that includes underground subways like the Tube in London, England. At some point, this particular subway in England can be in New York can all be at high risk of just devastation under there. Collapses and, trains coming off the tracks. The earth is expanding. So anything that's on the ground or underneath it, everything is very unstable now. And you need to also think about sinkholes. Now, a lot of people don't really look into this, but if you just start paying attention, sinkholes, huge ones, are opening up at an amazing rate all over the world. Big, big, big ones. And, for a while we were having earthquakes, right? Big ones, but they weren't necessarily in populated areas. Now they're hitting populated areas. And these sinkholes, more and more, they've been in populated areas, but they kind of they're not so much in the news. But this is definitely a symptom of what is happening when you're going through a magnetic pole reversal and heading for a pole shift. The ground becomes unstable underneath your feet. So you might be fine in your house today, but that doesn't mean that it'll be there underneath you and around you tomorrow or by the end of the night. And we've been hearing stories of that, but it's going to get worse, okay? Now, I know that Ohio train derailment happened, but I noticed that here in Houston, a lot of people were complaining, including myself, of headaches, nausea, dizziness, lethargy. All right. And even though the smoke was heading north to the Canada area. All right. In this, I really just want to, as far as prepping goes, y'all really need to start thinking about water testing kits, gas masks that cover the eyes, nose, mouth with refill filters, and duct tape, because you're going to have to duct tape your clothes, duct tape your windows. You're going to have to make sure that you have a safe space, to breathe. You need those. You can't just have iodine pills. You need to have that Geiger machine, that Geiger counter. Please think about these things. We've even got meteors coming in over Texas and other places. It's trying to turn into the movie Greenland. And that's actually a good portrayal, too, of what's coming. All right. And so, really, when you look at it, food, air, the actual air we breathe, the water we drink, the electricity, we can't just walk out and bathe in the water at some point. We won't be able to just drink it without testing it. We're going to need these testing strips, these testing mechanisms, all right? To know that, hey, maybe before we go drink in the water, throw a rock in it and see if any rainbows come up. At least have some idea, all right? So preserve your water. Find ways, okay? We've got acid rain. That was prophesied too. We knew this would come because the earth had become so polluted that our technology that we thought would help us would in the end destroy us. It's like that forbidden fruit of knowledge or something. We ate from that tree. We sure did. But fortunately, we still have some amazing things happening. That grace of God, that Holy Spirit, it's here. It's starting to show itself more and more. You start talking about revival, what's happening up in that church, where people are just coming all over. Get ready to see more of that, because at some point it's going to get global. There's going to be, that's okay. I know a lot of people don't believe me, but I know what I'm talking about. I know. Good to see you. Thank you, Kim, and thank you for your prayers. Got some windows. Yes, yes, yes. And you can also maybe use that spray can foam, insulation foam. That works too. Clarissa says, remember when the New York City subway flooded during the hurricanes? I do remember that. Absolutely. And like that New England blob, what that is that's a big chamber of magma underneath the Atlantic and around and up underneath New York, the New Jersey, Connecticut area. And so let's just say something shifted there. It could easily send a tsunami in without erupting. But the northeast coast, that's not a safe place either. Sure is not. People are waking up. It's about time. Yes, yes. Making a list, don't want to live near a city. Yeah, you definitely don't want to be in a city. I mean, you think about major earthquake hits the city. Those buildings are going to hit each other. They're going to, it's going to all look like what Turkey looks like right now. Okay. And I know that they've got earthquake engineering on some of these buildings, but these kinds of earthquakes that we're heading for may not have been planned for. They're so bad. You understand me? There's only so much you can really prepare for. Winds today blew the tarp off here in Indiana. Do you think sinkholes can be caused by drilling? Yeah, that's one way, but that's not the only way. And sinkholes are definitely coming from what's happening to the earth. And so if there's drilling already in that spot, then the ground itself is going to be more unstable, not just underneath, but also as pressure builds where these wells were, they can become outlets for magma just spraying everywhere. I'm not kidding. As the pressure continues to build, there will be, it'll be like a twofold problem. That's really good. Y'all did research. Skyscrapers sway in earthquakes. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So those who try to save their lives will lose it. Prepping, there's nothing wrong with that. If God has told us to prepare, he's told individuals or he's had somebody tell, say, hey, go, have the servants go tell. That's fine. What I'm saying is on our own, we're not going to make it through this. It's only going to be by not our hands, but God's hand, and listening to him every step of the way. That's going to get it. So, we might all be in the same area and 10,000 might fall to your left and 10,000 to your right. But if you were standing exactly where God told you to be standing, you're going to be just fine. Okay. And we've just got to trust. And even if we're not fine, we got to know that it must be our time to go. Mission's up. It's our ticket out of here. Nobody was ever promised to live on this planet forever. That was never natural. Nobody's ever been told that nobody dies. That happens. But it's not so much about dying as where you're living next. Because nobody really dies. I'm telling you. Nobody really dies. It's just change of address, really. So I want y'all to really think about where this is headed. Think about water, fresh air, soil. Make sure that you have some way to protect your soil. It's just an idea, okay? Be sure to watch the animals, the insects, things like that. And be sure to be watching them skies for them auroras. Like here in Houston, we have that magnetic anomaly. That means we're going to be more prone to internet service problems, phone problems, electrical grid problems, cancer. You see what I'm saying? We've reached that time. Okay. So you can prepare so much what God tells you to prepare for. Your faith is going to get you the rest of the way. And when your time is up, it's vacation time for Christians. It's time. You've done your job, good and faithful servant. We'll chill up in the upper room. All right. Because that's really our goal, isn't it? All right. That's our goal eventually. But while we're here, we had a purpose. And we're in very special times. So be sure that you're in tune and purpose-minded for while you are here. Because every breath, every day we wake up, there's a reason for that. That's a gift. And it is not to be wasted, not these days. Okay? All right? I am pretty sure that is just about it. you want to talk about sinkholes, there's one in Washington, Bengaluru, Chatsworth. I don't even know where these places are, but you just go ahead and look up these sinkholes. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Chile, there's another one. But anyway, I'll let y'all check that out on your own time. And I want to thank you all so much for coming. And don't forget, I did do a live with Kim Soul Food last weekend. I don't know if a lot of you even got notified, but it's a good thing if you want to check it out if you need something more positive. All righty. I love you. I thank you for coming, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.